The strongest fighter is not always the most dangerous. For centuries, old masters proved one uncomfortable truth. When skill controls timing, structure, and movement, raw strength starts to lose its advantage. Imagine facing someone younger, bigger, and more athletic than you. Most people believe the stronger person automatically wins. The old masters knew something different. They built systems where age became an advantage because experience could replace speed and technique could replace power. In this video, we will uncover the forgotten principles that allowed older fighters to overcome physical disadvantages using leverage, timing, balance, and human biomechanics. These are not tricks. They are rules of movement that the body cannot ignore. This video explores historical martial arts concepts and biomechanics for educational purposes only. These principles reveal how masters thought about combat, not instructions for real-world violence. 8. Structure over muscle. The first principle every ancient fighting system teaches is the one modern strength training ignores completely. Structural alignment. The human body generates force not from the arm, not from the shoulder, but from a kinetic chain that begins at the ground, travels through the ankle, knee, hip, torso, and shoulder before arriving at the point of contact. When this chain is correctly aligned, a 60-kilogram person can generate more usable force than a 100-kilogram person swinging with isolated arm strength. This is not a metaphor. It is documented biomechanics. The old masters trained structural alignment obsessively because they had to. They could not rely on muscle to cover the gaps in their technique. Every ancient system, from the German Liechtenauer sword tradition to Okinawan karate to Chinese internal martial arts, places structural alignment above all other physical attributes in its foundational curriculum. The reason is simple. Muscle fatigues, deteriorates with age, and can always be outmatched by someone bigger. Structure does not fatigue. Physics does not age. A body aligned correctly at the moment of contact transfers force through the opponent's structure rather than into it. And no amount of muscle prevents a force that is traveling through you rather than against you. 7. Footwork as geometry, not athletics. Modern martial arts teaches footwork as an athletic skill. Fast, explosive, reactive. The old masters taught footwork as geometry. The distinction matters more than most people realize. Athletic footwork depends on speed and reaction time, both of which decline with age, and both of which can be overcome by an opponent who is simply faster. Geometric footwork depends on understanding angles, which positions make you safe, which positions make your opponent structurally weak, and how to reach those positions through small, deliberate movements rather than explosive ones. The triangular footwork systems documented across Filipino Kali, Japanese Aiki traditions, and medieval European fighting manuals all share one architectural principle. The goal of movement is never to retreat or to chase. It is to reach the position from which the opponent's structure is compromised and yours is not. A small diagonal step that takes you off the attack line and onto the opponent's outside angle requires no speed. It requires only the knowledge of where that angle is and the timing to reach it before the opponent commits. The old masters moved late and slowly because they moved to the only position that mattered. Speed without geometry covers more ground and arrives at the wrong place faster. 6. Timing the commitment window. When the human brain initiates a committed motor program, a punch, a grab, a tackle, it allocates cognitive and physical resources to completing that program. For the duration of the commitment, the brain cannot simultaneously execute a full defensive response to an unexpected input. Neuroscientists call this dual task motor suppression. The old masters called it finding the gap. The principle is identical. A committed attacker is a vulnerable attacker, and the window of vulnerability opens the moment their body commits to the movement and closes the moment it completes. This is the timing principle documented across every ancient system studied. Not reacting to the attack, intercepting the commitment before the attack reaches full speed. A strike that intercepts a limb at 30% of its velocity requires a fraction of the force needed to stop the same limb at full extension. The old masters were not fast enough to react after the attack launched. They were precise enough to act the moment the commitment began, because that is the only window where a smaller, slower person has a mechanical advantage over a larger, faster one. Speed beats reaction. Timing beats speed. And timing is a cognitive skill that does not deteriorate the way physical attributes do. 5. Base disruption before technique. The human body can only generate force, resist force, and maintain structural integrity when it has a stable base. Both feet in contact with the ground, weight distributed through the skeletal structure, in a way that allows the muscles to function correctly. Remove the base and every other physical attribute becomes irrelevant. A 120-kilogram man with no base is easier to move than a 60-kilogram man with a solid one. The old masters understood this principle at a depth modern martial arts has largely forgotten. Base disruption was the foundational offensive principle in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, Chinese Shuijiao, and the grappling traditions documented in ancient Greek and Roman sources. Before the throw, before the strike, before any technique, the base, a small directed force applied to the opponent's structure at the moment when their weight is transitioning between feet, requires almost no strength to produce a disproportionate result. The body in mid-weight transfer has no muscular resistance available to the direction of the disruption because the muscles are occupied with the transition itself. The old masters did not throw strong people. They waited until strong people were briefly not strong, and then they moved. Size becomes a liability the moment the base goes, more weight to carry in the wrong direction. 4. The vestibular system as a weapon. Balance in the human body depends on 3 systems working together: the vestibular system in the inner ear, the visual system, and the feedback signals coming from muscles and joints. Every movement we make relies on these systems constantly communicating with the brain. But when those signals become disrupted or conflict with each other, the brain struggles to maintain stability and coordination, regardless of how strong or athletic the person is. The old masters understood this hidden weakness of the human body. They did not focus only on strength or speed. They studied balance, timing, and movement. By disrupting an opponent's sense of position and control, they could create moments where size and power became far less important. A larger opponent could still have strength, but if the system controlling that strength was compromised, their advantage disappeared. This was the deeper principle behind many ancient fighting systems. The goal was not simply to overpower someone bigger, it was to understand the mechanics of the human body and use precision over force. The old masters knew that when balance is lost, even the strongest person can become vulnerable. Technique did not replace strength by magic. It used the body's own limitations against itself. Every joint in the human body has a natural range of motion defined by its structure. When a joint is pushed beyond that limit, it does not fail because of pain or weakness. It fails because the body's mechanics cannot support that position. A joint is not controlled by muscle alone. It is controlled by geometry. Once it reaches its structural limit, strength has less influence over the outcome. The old masters understood this principle deeply. Ancient systems developed methods of controlling joints by using angles, leverage, and precise positioning rather than relying on raw power. Whether through Chinese Chin Na, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, or European wrestling traditions, the focus was always the same. Apply force where the body's structure is weakest. A small amount of precise pressure can overcome a much stronger opponent because it is not competing against their muscles. It is working against the natural limits of their body. The old masters did not try to become stronger than strength itself. They learned how to redirect force toward the places where strength has no advantage. 2. Using the opponent's force. A stronger opponent creates a problem most people try to solve with more strength. The old masters solved it differently. They understood that every movement carries momentum, and momentum does not always need to be stopped. It can be redirected. When a person commits their body forward with force, their own movement becomes part of the equation. Instead of resisting that energy directly, skilled practitioners learn to guide it, allowing the opponent's own momentum to carry them beyond their intended position. This principle appears across many traditional systems, from Japanese Aiki concepts to Chinese Taijikwan and Filipino Kali. Different cultures described it differently, but the idea remained the same. The more force an opponent commits, the more energy becomes available to redirect. The old masters did not fear a stronger opponent because strength created commitment, and commitment created opportunity. They did not need to overpower force. They only needed to understand where it was already going. 1. The fulcrum principle. Every technique in this video follows one physical law, the lever. A lever creates power by rotating around a fixed point called the fulcrum. The key is not how much force is used, but where that force is applied. The old masters understood that the human body itself is a system of levers. By controlling angles, joints, and balance points, they could create movement without relying on greater strength. They were not fighting muscle with muscle. They were using geometry against force. Across ancient fighting systems around the world, the same principle appeared because physics does not change. The old masters succeeded because they understood the body as a machine of levers, hinges, and movement. Strength matters less when the fulcrum is controlled.